Howdy toddy, it's the Sweat Equity Podcast. I'm recording this intro in my new, our new baby's room that's being transformed. Our little babe will be here in 3 months, and I forgot to record an intro to this episode with Brian Schaefer because this was a weird one. Um, it if you think the vibe is weird with Brian and I, it's all good. I was trying to think about. I listened to it a little bit, and I was like, this might be weird to listen to. So this is a good one. He's the owner of Skate Park of Tampa. He's kind of an influencer in the skateboarding scene, especially in the Tampa Bay area, even though he won't say that. And we talk about how to a lot of different things, social contracts of charities. I think talk about what would you do if you had $1 billion. I think that's toward the end. Um, how do you make it through the skateboarding industry, which you can be called a sellout if you want to make a buck. So I thought it was pretty interesting. I think I think this may have been his first podcast interview ever, and enjoy. We kept the seat for Caleb. We still miss him. We he you know we keep it like Seder. The chair is open for Caleb, just like Elijah. So whenever he comes back from his 8 week tour of working on his startup called the Scouting Block. So if you want to check it out, go to thescoutingblock.com. We'll make that the episode sponsor. And he basically, if you don't know what it is, if you haven't listened to any earlier episodes, he's basically filming little boys. Oh, wait, no, didn't mean to say it that way. He's going to high school games and getting badass HD video to be able to show recruits how good high school baseball players are. And so he's becoming a really great enterprise, and he's right in the middle of a dickload of tournaments. That's why he's out of the picture right now. So without further ado, we'll bring in Brian Schaefer, owner of Skate Park of Tampa, a board member of Boards for Bros, which is a charity that gives to kids that don't have any skateboarding gear. And kind of, we talk about that a lot in the beginning, where a lot of parents just dump their kids off, and that's going to be parenting for a lot of skateboarding kids. So enjoy, subscribe, rate, review, send us feedback, hit us up, good, bad, tell us. Let's do it.
Park to make sure I get a parent's number for a young 10-year-old versus 10-year-old brawl at the skate park of Tampa. So I've been doing a little bit of fire putting out, if that makes sense, putting out fires at the skate park with angry parents and angry kids.
Is that worse now? Like, have the parents gotten worse over the years? How long has the skate park been open?
23 and a half years.
So are parents worse with kids there now than like in the 90s?
Can you restate the question, please?
Or like I feel like there's more helicopter parents. I feel like back in the day you might not have to really deal with the parents in this case. Like, you basically have to deal with the kids, or like the kids on the spot, but the parents aren't going to try to get someone fired.
I don't know. I think it goes both ways. It's like sometimes
you organizing papers.
Sometimes, yeah, I'm just straightening your desk up.
Okay,
that's just me, man.
If you want another beer, we have more over there. Not saying you're a booze hound, but some people get nervous on this stuff. All right,
I'm actually like only 1/10 down in the Blueberry Brew Bus, and
this episode brought to you by Brew Bus Brewery. You're my boy,
Blueberry.
Yeah, that's a blueberry wheat. Won a bunch of awards. I don't know.
Awards don't necessarily mean it's good. It's all whatchamacallit, speculative, and it's an opinion.
Yeah, well, that usually sounds like a guy that hasn't won a lot of awards.
Maybe I'm just not keeping up, and then it would have changed my palate a little bit if I would have known that I'm sitting next to a Grammy.
Yeah.
A Grammy, maybe?
A Grammy? Wait. We gotta go back. I wanna know about parents at a skate park, because in my head, like, they have zero involvement. Like, you just drop your kids off there all day, and like, unless it's like they got in a fist fight where there's like one kid went to the hospital, and then you got to deal with that.
I think you're about 90% correct. So pretty much 9 out of 10 kids, parents, they just drop them off and go, man, cheap daycare. I'm stoked. But however, when the kid comes back with a black eye or possibly a text message that said, I am going to stab you to death.
Yeah.
From another kid
allegedly
that exchanged, text messages, and the kid possibly said, dude, the autocorrect said stab instead of just beat you to death. So the young kid said,
sounds like a young attorney.
I didn't mean stab. I meant beat him to death, not stab him to death. And I'm like, well, it may not be good to beat or stab anybody to death, whether autocorrect or not. I wouldn't recommend it. And I got to talk to your dad a little bit later, but just know that we'll try to get to the bottom of this so everybody can still be fun and happy on the same playground known as the Skate Park of Tampa.
Well, see, this is the thing about like owning a business in a cool atmosphere, right? It's still a business. I think of your have you ever seen Empire Records? As it came out in the 90s? Right. Awesome.
Who's on it?
I think Renee Zellweger's in it. And a bunch of other people. Liv Tyler. Well, it's about like a guy who's like he's an older guy, like with a bunch of young kids at a record shop or whatever, or CD shop or something like that. And it's always about like the whole kind of, there's one of the themes is like, yeah, this is still kind of a business. Like you still, it's cool. It's cool to have like music around all day and stuff, but like it's kind of about, it's still a real business. Yeah. And so like those things, did that start to like wear on you a little bit when it's like these kind of issues? You're a pretty patient guy, so it's not like...
Well, thank you.
You're not... let's put it this way. You're not like a Woody Allen neurotic. How about that? Or unless you're playing it real cool.
I'll take it as a compliment.
Yeah. No, I'll do a CompuSalt. I'll start up with a good one and then kind of bring you back to normal.
Is that why I had to pay to come in here to do this, so we get like the proper press, maybe?
Yeah. So this is part of PR, man.
Whatever it takes, man. We got to pay to keep it clean and tight.
Yeah. Keep it tight.
So to answer your question, the playground, but where you work, it can be kind of a drag sometimes because you just become like the office rat, or you're just working so much that you don't really want to step out to funland when you get out of the office, or have to pull the parents together and make sure everybody's in unity and the kids are all getting along. So, but I love what I do, but it can take the fun out of it. But this is kind of, I love procrastinating with work. Just like I said, I love being here with the podcast. So thanks for having me. So today was unique, but
all right, see you later.
Put out some fires. Thank you very much.
That sounded like you were like, all right, gotta go. Thanks. Yeah. Well, look, I mean, and this is all allegedly. These are all kind of just stories, kind of mixed together. So says my attorney about what we say on here and what I don't edit out, really. But it's one of those things where you got that park when you were 23 years ago. Help me out with the math on that. That's 93.
Very good.
Yeah.
93 till infinity. Souls of Mischief song. That's our number one theme song.
Okay.
I'll play it on guitar in a little bit.
Oh, really? Can you?
No, I can't.
Okay. Well, you can't tease us like that. You can't tease the audience.
You can edit the background music to the intro and the outro of this, and you can be like, and there it is, 93 till infinity. Thanks for coming to the studio.
I'm writing it down. So let's get this out of the way. The rumor is not true. People still think Lil Wayne owns part of the skate park.
He might.
Okay. Wow, we're finding out stuff. No reason to be vague, but all right. Are you going to be the guy that sees a guitar at a party and you're like, "Hey, let me bust something out." Y'all ever heard of a band called Bare Naked Ladies?
I think they're from Canada.
Yeah.
I'm not from Canada.
So I'm always kind of intrigued about like kind of the anti-establishment, the counterculture of skateboarding and that whole world. How do you go about opening a skate park in the 90s? How old are you? I don't even know.
I would just like to say
you're
that.
like a white guy that I have no idea. Like, Asian and black dudes, no clue. They could be 18, they could be 88. I have no idea. It's somewhere like in the board game realm of ages.
Hey, let me just say, quit confusing me, man. Let's close out one topic at a time. Do
No.
you want to talk about when the park started? Do you want to talk about Lil Wayne? Do you want to talk about the kids fighting on the playground? Do you want to talk about my age?
All of these.
I think the ADD's kicking in. You're worse than me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I'd like to just finish Lil Wayne though.
All right.
Lil Wayne is officially a part of the skate park of Tampa. Just check Wikipedia.
He's a part of it. Check Wikipedia. Always accurate.
Could be an owner.
Could be an owner. Check Wikipedia. I'm not gonna do it right now because I believe you. I believe it's up there. Does he have equity?
He has 93% of some of it.
All right.
You'll get there.
You're a good interview. Are you Snapchatting now?
Nah, I just gotta report to the boss real quick. Could be Lil Wayne.
Ooh. Is he on lean right
Let him
now?
know I'm tied up right at the moment. I can't answer this call.
Will you tell him I'm drinking lean even though I'm not?
I will.
All right. Cool.
I'll have you and the Tocobaga produce his all his digital media assets.
Man, I don't know. I think Baby's got a little something involved in that. I wouldn't want to mess with that crew. I'd have to refer that one out. I think, even though it's a great opportunity, but that one would be a little. I'm a little too, as my black friends say, vanilla.
All right, Mr. Vanilla.
Yeah,
I like vanilla.
Hey, man, thanks a lot. All right, so what were the other questions I was asking you?
I was just kidding, man.
I just try to keep it rolling, man.
Keep it rolling. Keep it real.
All right, so you own Skate Park of Tampa. You own the Bricks restaurant and currently the building we're sitting in. You're kind of an entrepreneur. You are an entrepreneur. How does it feel? How is it to be in the position you're in where you're kind of managing three things at once all the time? And those are the things I know about. I don't know what else.
Oh, my empire. I have about 100 more companies.
Okay.
Other things that I can't share.
Sure.
So in depth, Lil Wayne. I have multiple.
You own Lil
Wayne now.
Okay.
No, it's the skate park and the Bricks, and then we're fortunate enough to own the building here in Ybor City. A couple other things. We do events and we travel the world. My partner Paul Zitzer and I, which hosts amateur skateboarding contests and other pro contests that kind of lead back to Tampa. And that's really it, man. Very fortunate.
And you run the charity Boards for Bros.
And Boards for Bros as well.
Yeah, so you're always doing a lot, which I've always respected since we became neighbors in Ybor. No, I'm not buttering your bread. I'm just saying, like, we talk about a lot on this show, like it's good to hang around people that are doing a similar kind of entrepreneurial route. Because if you're hanging around with a bunch of, like, I'm sure you got this when you opened the skate park or you had ideas of opening the skate park. And I'm sure you had a bunch of people that are like, that's cool, you should do that. And you know, a lot of people that are like, don't be the man, I'm sure. I think it's always important to surround yourself by people that are motivated or just doing something proactive.
No, man, absolutely. If you surround yourself by better people and people that are progressive and motivating and doing rad shit, then you kind of get motivated and inspired, or learn from the things that your surrounding friends are doing or your peers or other businesses. So, yeah, that's it, period.
What were you doing before you opened Spot, the skate park of Tampa?
Well, man, I was on the last couple months of my 21st years of being alive, my 21 years of being alive. So I was 21.
Mm-hmm.
December 1992. And prior to that, man, just kind of skateboarding. I wasn't getting paid to skateboard, but I was able to work horrible jobs and save money and cut grass in the summertime and travel and take off of school and just do enough to get by, so my parents would still allow me to come home and rest my head in good old Brandon, Florida. So just skateboarding and working some lousy jobs to pay the bills just to skateboard, really.
So did you kind of just go, I'll just open a skate park and I'll figure out the rest kind of stuff?
Well, in 91 to 92, we had a private warehouse in Drew Park, Paul Zitzer's warehouse. It was actually a friend of mine that I met, in the early 90s that had moved down here that was, pursuing a skateboarding career, but he was going to school at USF, and his parents owned Phase 2 skate shop in Milwaukee. And they were like, hey, you're going down to school there. There's a vert scene. And then, the vert scene started dying out, so they loaned him a little bit of money to have a warehouse. So we had a private warehouse in Drew Park and had keys to the building. And we had a great place to skate for $50 a month. It only lasted, a year, because 20 derelicts at the ages of 17 to 20 couldn't afford $50 each to keep a private warehouse open and paying the rent, and not to mention the bums only almost burned down our warehouse. And then it was kind of a combo of no money, a little bit of violence in the neighborhood that kind of made us have to shut down the warehouse. And then we had a vert ramp sitting around, and just a thought of trying to put the vert ramp into a warehouse, live there, pay rent, and kind of make it like a skate park where you pay money to come in and use it like a roller skating park. And we saw somebody doing it out in San Jose, the San Jose skate park, and they were kind enough to let us kind of work there, kind of sort of just clean up there and skate for peanuts and in our summer of 92. And that kind of just gave us the concept that hey man, those guys are living there, working there, doing a skate park, we can do it as well. And that's what we set out to do. Unfortunately, we were able to find a landlord that was willing to work with us and give us the keys to the building that we're still in now 23 years later.
Yeah, that's a lot of business. Is you look at something and you go, I can do that. We can figure this out. Even though sometimes it's better to be green in a lot of ways when you're younger, because you're just you've got a lot of energy, Yeah, no,
yeah,
you're smirking.
No, man, it's
the visuals don't come across on the pod, so I'm
no, it's good, man. I'm looking directly across from you, and then we lock in and we're laughing, and it just the deer in the headlights when I'm trying to answer it, and you're going, wonder what he's gonna say next. The podcasts are awesome. I wish you guys could just have a video of us. You would just love it so much.
Oh, that's coming.
A great hair day today.
Next time you're on the podcast, we will have the video set up.
I can't wait to be back already. I'm already having the time of my life.
Yeah, you sound like it. You definitely don't sound like a funeral director at all about this.
But anyway, so a lot of business back in the day. 21, it's we're just gonna find a place to skate, place to put our warehouse, live in it, skate there, and charge admission, sell some skateboards, and hopefully it'll work out. And fortunately, being green and just having the ambition and the drive, I guess, and just luck, timing, industry, skate parks weren't around, vert scene wasn't around, and we had one of the only spots for the first few years because skate parks have kind of died off in the early 90s. So it just became an apartment for everybody from Canada to Pennsylvania, and we kind of worked it out as we went and started, a few contests that worked out through the industry and are somehow known now, I guess, around the world.
Well, I feel I like the skateboard community because I feel like it's a lot like the comedian, community. You have all these people from everywhere else. Some people are really skilled. Some people have delusions of grandeur, but at the same time, they love that just being around it a lot of the time. And I feel like you become fast friends with a lot of people that you respect all over the country. I'm sure you have friends everywhere that you meet at pro-ams or whatever you're scouting out or anything around the country. Because if you're on Instagram, follow, what's the handle?
Oh, it's at Brian Schaefer.
Is that you have that, and he'll be giving the thumbs up, and
sure.
and But you become like you travel around a lot. When you were younger, I'm sure you did a lot more like just checking out these big festivals or tournaments. I'm not sure.
Man. I mean,
nomenclature.
I mean, to kind of do the parallel as far as like the comedy world. I mean, it's a network. It's the underground network, hoping to make it and also meet friends along the way and build your careers and just build a universal network, from state to state, from city to city. So it's the same thing, man. Skateboarding is the same culture, and
Well, I feel like a lot of guys I knew when I was into it in middle school, and I was around all that stuff. Was like, like a lot of the guys that were super into it, that was their place of refuge. Whereas a lot of comedians come from a fucked up place, and that comedy was always like their escape kind of thing. I feel like skateboarding has that kind of thing where you're younger, maybe parents are going through a divorce, something worse, and you just have to get out of the house. Like how we kind of started this, where it was like a lot of parents just drop off the kids and just like, peace, you're there.
Yeah, it's definitely an outlet. It's an outlet to release some steam or just be an artist. It's your own thing. It's self-expression. It's fun. It's also the right amount of trouble if you can balance it out, just like anything else. I'm sure just like the comedy world. On the road, in little sweat boxes of, comedy, warehouses or stages that are just like maybe not in the greatest neighborhood because they can't afford the rent.
Yep.
It's the same thing with warehouses and skate shops, or skate warehouses, and very similar.
What's weird is when last time I went there, you were nice enough to give us passes to oh God, I'm gonna butcher what the event was, but it was in November.
Probably Tampa Am.
Yes. And so we went, and what? I had a trigger memory. When you have some smells that kick back to something. Like if I smell fresh cut grass, I'll think of 2-day football practice because your face is in it.
So beautiful, and then maybe the skate park scent was maybe like gym locker and.
It's like that sweat mixed with like plywood was like, it brought me right back to like, and I wasn't even good. I just hung around a lot. Brought me back to like those kind of days where it's like, you only really get that kind of sweat mixed with like old school plywoody kind of, unless it's Home Depot or Lowe's without AC, like you're not going to get that kind of like there's a good stench. I like it.
Yeah, man, it's a staple skate park feel and smell. I know it very well.
Yeah, is that something that's because I only know the ones that were around here in Florida. Is that kind of a universal kind of like that smell is signature?
Absolutely, except when they're brand new. That smells like a brand new house.
Yeah,
very rare in skate parks.
Yeah, so I feel like that's like I went to go play football like in North Carolina one time, and I played in California, and just that fresh cut grass brings you right back to it and gets you right in that mindset. I had that similar feeling just walking around there, and then just a lot of like ambient noise of just craziness going on, which I love. It's a good chaos going around you,
Agreed. Let's cut some grass. Sorry, I just got taken back by a text. There's some unusual photos coming into my text box.
Oh, anything we want to talk about? Because if you were gonna zone out on the text, I was gonna say the next smell, like old pussy, right? And then just see if you're turning around. But are we getting
Well, let's keep it business.
This is business. Are we? Is it? What kind of text are you getting? Are we getting Snapchats now?
No Snapchat. I'm on Snapchat, but I don't use it. Does that count? Isn't it Chat Snap?
Yeah, it's Chat Snap, Dad. That's what that's called, Chat Snap, Dad.
What's that Chat Snap you're on?
No, are you getting some sweetness?
No, I got a text message from my boss and some photos. They're very beautiful.
Your boss meaning?
Just my boss.
All right. We'll keep it at that.
Back to business.
Sure. I mean, like, where do you find yourself a lot of like? This show's about kind of like giving advice to people that want to do something entrepreneurial.
Sure.
Or, we talk about this a lot. This is kind of a common theme and a common conversation I have with my friends who are in their 20s and 30s is like, they don't know what they want to do, like, and you forget, like, while you went to the skate park business early on, you knew you loved it, right?
That's all I knew.
Well, I mean, like, but that's a good thing. That's a blessing in disguise in a way,
No,
right?
absolutely, man. I mean, that was the drive and the passion, I mean, like, it wasn't something that was planned out. The skate park was just like, it was a survival technique. Then we wanted to skate, so it just turned into a career. So I call it, like, it's the best accident that I've ever had.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I feel like 30% of my conversations with people I run into is like, yeah, man, I don't know what I want to do, and it's like they're miserable at whatever they're doing right now. And that's kind of a little bit of the reason we started this podcast, because it'd be like, well, it'd be fun to, like, just talk to people that are either finding their way or have done it and, kind of can give advice. Do you have any advice? I'm sure a lot of kids hit you up for, I'm sure there's a lot of kids that hit you up for info on how to stay in that industry, but they might not be pros. They might not make it as a skater, but how do they stay in the industry? I want to be around this. I don't want to go work at CVS.
No, I get it, man. It's, man, one, we all want to be inspired. One, we all want to pursue our dream career, which is like our hobby, into a business. I mean, the basic advice just for anybody that I usually like to give is, like, if you can't make it as a pro athlete, right? Like, let's use football, since everybody knows it, more so than the world of skateboarding, but it's the same parallel. If you can't be, the quarterback or on the team, maybe you can be the sports therapist. Maybe you could be the psychiatrist for sports. Maybe you can be the coach. Maybe you could be the cheerleader. Maybe you can be the TV production guy that is filming sports, or an announcer, just like, us on the mics and you leading the podcast. So there's always ways to get involved in something you love, even if you can't be like the sports star, because without TV production, coaches, lifeguards, therapists, equipment, without all those elements, there's no football. You can't play football without shoes, socks, safety gear. So there's so many elements.
Those are made by tiny hands in Malaysia. Yeah.
Yes.
But there's a lot of hands. There's a lot of little hands.
People get paid to work with little hands all over the world. So you could be some of those little hands in some way. Just a part of the machine that actually makes everything work.
What do you tell younger guys though? When they come up to you for advice.
I mean, I think that's rather vague, but I mean, as far as if it applies to
anything, there's just like they're just like, hey man, you're a successful guy. I don't know what I want to do. What would you tell them? Like, how do you figure that out?
It changes year to year. Well, first is like, well, what part of skateboarding do you want to be a part of? I want to be a pro. So then you take it from there. So every conversation is always different based on the topic. But, a lot of people are like, man, we want to start a skate park. How did you do it? How did you get started? And I always let them know that, man, it was, like I said, the best accident. It was timing, hard work, the right team. I have a lot of great people, that have helped me, from day one, whether it be donating time, people contributing, opportunities such as marketing and sending their riders there, or even being a sponsor. Even from back in the day, it was like Airwalk sponsored our first pro contest for like $1,000, and we had some products. And, now our purse is, like 75 grand and $20,000 for first place. But, it all starts somewhere. So it starts with a lot of work, and actually at least a foundation of where you want to get started, how you want to get started, what's your end goal. And, skate parks, they're tough business, I wouldn't recommend it for anybody, only because it was the time and place, and we've been there 23 years, and skateboarding always evolves. So every time you go, well, what would you say advice today with certain topics? It's different year after year, especially now with the internet and technology being able to change the retail game, e-commerce, direct to consumer. So the retail game's tough business.
Yeah, I mean, like it's once I saw Nike kind of entering that sector, it's kind of like, whoa, this is. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for skateboarding. I mean, you don't have to say anything on that, but it's like and I think a lot of people that don't know the industry, it legitimized the sport for the people that don't know it.
It definitely has its pros and cons, man. Just like any large business that is coming into a business that they didn't grow up in. And you know what?
We're seeing it with Reebok and UFC. Like people, UFC diehards, they fucking hate it. And they think it's ruining the sport because it's kind of tightening it up a little bit.
Maybe it looks a little weird.
Yeah, I think it's just tightening up a lot of the normal like sloppy looseness of a lot of the stuff that they used to do, you know.
I think if I can just generalize, if I may right now.
Yeah.
If I was like a UFC fighter
mm-hmm.
and I was from the streets and I'm like making my career or just being like that broke comedian traveling the world.
Sure.
And all of a sudden like everybody, there's Reebok as a sponsor, it's probably looked down upon like, man, why is Reebok like coming into our game? Is that correct?
Yeah.
If I'm generalizing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think the same parallel is to the way Nike came into skateboarding because it really wasn't supported in the beginning. And I understand, you know, you have this company from the outside world, just like energy drinks. People were like, man, why are they in our industry?
Yeah.
Well, you know, Nike's done a lot of great things for skateboarding, and those that are, you know, facilitated by Nike pros and also not the pros, but the team managers and the riders and everybody that's in the marketing department. I mean, there's a whole new division for just skateboarding alone, and they have their own shoes. So, you know, at first it was frowned upon. Then it you know, kind of mellowed out, and they kind of like showed that, you know, hey, man, we're in it for the long run. But, you know, they're opportunists. They're in business, you know, and they see an opening just like Reebok in UFC. It may seem kind of whack, but hopefully Reebok will contribute correctly, and hopefully the UFC organization can actually hold on to that and keep them at the right distance so everybody benefits, so it just doesn't become the Reebok world of UFC. It should still be UFC in the, you know, holding the steering wheel instead of Reebok taking hold of it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how it is. I just think the cash doesn't trickle to the fighters as much as it should, but I think you're going to need more than just one big tentpole brand to kind of make that happen for UFC's sake.
Yeah, man.
Skateboarding's a different setup.
I think the UFC fighters that are putting their life on the line every fight, I mean, you can't blame the toughest guy from the streets, maybe whether it be U.S. or Puerto Rico or somewhere, to have this company that's like, man, we're really gonna support, you know, the Terminator. Let's call him the Terminator.
I'm sure there's a guy named that. I don't follow that much. I like watching it, but it's like,
so the Terminator, he comes out with a Reebok sponsor.
He's got a red eye. That's why
probably
it's called
looks
the Terminator.
weird at first,
Mm-hmm.
and next thing you know, at least he can pay for his like 6 or 7 babies around the world.
Yeah, wow, you gave the Terminator a lot of baby mamas, or maybe just one.
Hey, he likes to party.
Yeah,
and he likes to fight.
I'm gonna say that's the Puerto Rican one that you were going with. Just generalizing here. Brian didn't say that. I did. How do you see skateboarding kind of going now? The skateboard kind of industry. I mean, you know what skateboarding I loved following kind of Spike Jonze, because he was kind of in and out of that industry. I'm not sure his whole trajectory, but I know like I used to love watching the skateboarding like the VHS tapes, a lot of fisheye lens stuff. But it was always like on the vanguard on a lot of like cool point of view angles, and like I remember like the first like handheld badass handheld camera, and it would all go to like the skateboarding videos. I feel like they were always on the forefront of that kind of stuff. Is there going to be something like virtual reality?
That high 8 camera.
Yeah.
You know, man, Spike Jonze is still involved in skateboarding. Obviously producing some of the world's best movies.
Yeah.
Skateboarding will always be there. Skateboarding, art, culture, videography will always be at the forefront,
Yeah.
I think alternative lifestyles, skateboarding in general. But it's, skateboarding's a tough game these days. I think in the future right now, a lot of the bigger companies will or already have grabbed a hold of skateboarding, and a lot of the independent companies are having a hard time, competing with the marketing power such as Adidas, Nike, Converse, and other brands, So, but skateboarding will always be here. It'll be always at the forefront of all the coolest shit ever, no matter what.
Okay, your face is perking up. I gotta wonder what that's about. What's the?
I just think that no matter what, man, because I've been through, a lot of different turns in skateboarding. It's on a different turn right now with the larger companies, meaning corporate, if I may, kind of grabbing a hold of the wheel. Skateboarding brands are having a hard time because they don't have the marketing power.
Yeah.
As some of the big brands. And, I just smiled because it's just another turn in skateboarding that's challenging for a lot of the retailers out there. Mom and pop, brick and mortar, every mall has every product that's in our store or that's, available anywhere in the world, and it's a click away because everybody goes direct. So there's a big challenge there. It's probably the same throughout all the retail stores throughout the world, whether it be the mall stores and or the mom and pop stores. Everybody can use brick and mortar stores on Dale Mabry, Bullshit Boulevard. Every city has one.
Phoenix has a bunch of them, like Dale Mabry Boulevard. It's big box stores kind of stuff.
They're just showrooms sometimes where people can go, man, this is awesome. Oh man, I can get this for like 30%, discounted online.
Yeah.
And guess what? All the cool manufacturers are now going direct.
Direct, yeah. Stuff like are you talking like made like direct made like shit like Big Cartel where you can make your own shirts and shit now?
Well, every brand. I think, on your own brand company, like Spot Brand, our skate park of Tampa, hoodies and shirts and boards. We make more margins on them.
Sure.
And there's a local, need for it. One, it's a little less expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Two, it supports, a scene and a culture. But when I say direct, it's the Apple computer store. You know what I mean? That's the model that everybody wants. It's like, hey man, they don't need Best Buy and they don't need Target to sell their product.
Gotcha.
They're like their own brand. They make their own margins. And, eventually I think every brand, in the world would rather just have their own stores in all parts of the world so they don't have to have anybody else handling their customer service and their product warranties, and it's all run similar like the Apple model.
Yeah, I think the specialty store, because to bring that to comparison, you have Nike that had, huge Nike Town shit. Now they're not. They're in Dick's and stuff, and they're all over the place. But they may go back to that because then they want to have control over everything.
It's just it's the customer experience. Going to Apple, going to Starbucks, they
both are miserable.
They
but people like it.
It's
I like almost have a seizure every time I go in the Apple store. I'm like, oh my god, there's too many. There's just too many people and like
too many Apple nerds.
No, it's the genius guys. Look, that's fine. Like, I never has an employee that makes like under $15 an hour like have so much ego, but like it's one of those things where is someone at the door?
Hello. Is there a thumbprint working on the scanning device that is the keyless entry?
Hey, we got to keep it tight. Security's got to be tight around here. So you got to install your own security gear. You got a Nest camera? You should probably get one of those. Those are pretty badass too.
A Nest camera?
Yeah, there's a camera right there that I can pull on my phone that's 1080p HD.
I can't wait to be live and video live on the next podcast.
That one's security.
So much fun.
That one's for the for the people that come in here and think they can take a date in here or something.
That's for the front door.
Yeah, well, we've got
recording at least 24 hours.
Yeah.
DVR.
Yeah. You pay like it keeps it in a cloud, and you can pay I think like 10 days worth, and then it'll back it up. But you can buy them like add one at a time if you want. So it's not like the old systems. They suck, like the old security systems, because you have to buy like 6 to 8 cameras, and then buy the DVR kit.
You are a plethora of knowledge, and
I'm
I
a
can't
nerd, bro.
wait to just write that down, because I think that's the camera that was outside of your front door, and that's why you always caught me like
jerking it.
Yeah, at the front door.
Yeah,
on Fifth Avenue.
We did have some badass wreaths outside that you were sexually attracted to. I didn't know what that was about, but look, everybody's like I said, comedy, skateboarding, everybody's got like probably their own weird vagabond kind of fetish, and yours was wreaths. I don't know. I don't know what this is about, man.
Let's get weird.
We should. Let's. Yeah, man.
How are we going to save the world, Law? How are we going to make the most money and have the most fun?
Well, I mean, is it about money? I think I talked to a lot of people, and you can't hijack this podcast. I'll let you interview me, so don't worry about that. But I feel like I don't know. Okay, how about this? You get $1 billion. What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna share it with the world and make everybody have drinking water and never go hungry, and hopefully put some of it towards stem cell research.
Ooh, okay. That's what you're gonna do with that? A bill?
I would also.
That's not a bill. You break it up, man. I don't know. Healthy drinking water. So wells, water.org. I think is a charity. I'm pretty sure that's the charity. But you build wells, give everybody food. But now, what if you've given so much food out that it becomes counterproductive? What if you gave too much out, and now they're fighting over the food you gave?
I think there would be a lesson attached to it, so people could understand the value, and it wasn't just an endless supply. So there was like maybe an educational process to possibly tie it back to
social
the value
contract,
of food,
right? We're talking about social contract. I think about that a lot, because like I don't like anything that's given out kind of thing. I'm not like a staunch Republican or any of that shit, even though I'm wearing a tight Banana Republic shirt. But it's one of those things where I feel like you give stuff out sometimes and the value of it is zero. I'm sure you've had plenty of giveaways at either the Bricks restaurant downstairs or at Spot, and it's not, the value of it isn't seen as it should have been.
You're dead on. Never give anything away for free. People will throw out the coupons at your door because they think it's either low value or people are attracted that shouldn't be there.
Yeah. So we just saved the world. No coupons.
No coupons.
What
a great idea.
That's a good bumper sticker.
Yeah, or tying an educational process to the free stuff.
Well, I do think about, all right, if you give it a bill, I do think about like, okay, all right, so the Tampa Bay area, I love it. You grew up here. I grew up here. You grew up here, right? You were born here, correct? Yes? No?
No, I was born in New York, but I've been here long enough, man. I've been here since 79.
Yeah, that's longer than me. I was born 84.
You're probably 84?
Yeah.
Holy shit, your forehead looks like you're way older than me.
Oh, I know. That's the Smith forehead. That's what I'm doing is I'm holding on to, we have a Peyton Manning forehead. I'm holding on to long hair, but it's also receding at the same time. So it's a tight look. Hey, the wife likes it. So it looks like a lion's mane if the lion had Down syndrome, as my friend Brendan T. Gleason says. What I always look at is like, why is Seattle so smart and this area is not as smart as Seattle, Tacoma? That metropolitan area is the same size. Tampa Bay is the same size. We have a transient population, but why is innovation coming out of that area and not here as much? Why is Boeing, Microsoft, Amazon, Porch.com? I ran out of things, but why is that area so rich in education and this is not? And I kind of think about that a lot. That's kind of the thing. If the music's not on the car, or I'm not listening to a podcast for 20 minutes in the car, and I'm just driving around, I don't know. That kind of occupies my mind.
Maybe all the people that were assisting in the .com era in San Francisco was like, man, it failed here. It's getting expensive now. Let's go, Portland or Washington. They all resided, and a whole bunch of people got together, and now that's why it's so smart, because they put their efforts that helped that movement in, I'd say, the late 90s, the .com era. Maybe they all just got there and they got smart and stayed indoors because there's too much rain up there, and then did a lot of work.
There's more rain. We looked this up because I toured with a guy from Seattle. He loves Seattle. I did a stand-up tour with a guy from Seattle. It rains, it doesn't rain as much in Seattle, technically, as we think. It's just overcast as shit all the time. It was like Panama City, Florida was number one. And
Really?
Yeah.
Panama's number one where it rains the most?
At the time, so this is 6 years ago. But it was one of those things where Seattle wasn't even top 5. I could look it up right now. But
blame it on El Nino. It always changes.
Sure.
And people make it up. Never or always trust the weather reporter.
Never or always?
No, always.
Okay.
Just kidding.
I don't a hurricane hasn't hit Tampa, and it's always been projected. What about that? Let's make that. Let's make a hurricane movie. I thought about that too. A hurricane party movie.
Oh, man, it could be the next big hit, like what was the earthquake movie? San Andreas?
Yeah. Is that good? I didn't see that.
I have free HBO for a year, and I just saw a bit of it, but it's The Rock's in
That's
there.
a humble brag, but all right.
It destroyed the Hoover Dam right from the start, so it was a scary intro.
No, I just want to talk about the hurricanes that are projected to hit, and you have a hurricane party, and then it doesn't hit at all.
It's still a party.
I want to call it. I was thinking about that yesterday morning. What would I call it? I think Category 4. Yeah.
That would be the name of your party?
That'd be the name of the movie, I think. Maybe make it a whole series. Who knows? You could have one hurricane a year.
Who would produce it?
You got to get Spike Jonze in there. Make it weird. Make it a little esoteric. Get Charlie Kaufman in that.
Who
mix.
did Spaceballs?
Mel Brooks.
Get Mel Brooks to produce it.
I think he's a little long in the tooth, but we'll try.
The guy who produced Scary Movie, who produced that.
Keenan Ivory Wayans. Why do I know all this shit? I don't want to.
No, I don't. I'm just thinking of movies that could be like a funny.
I'm not even talking about.
Category
You're talking
4.
spoofs, man. I'm talking like.
You're talking like, oh my god, it really did happen.
I'm talking
we're
like
trying to save the world at the bricks.
No, I'm talking. It'd be a great high school movie because it'd be realistic. It's like a bottle episode. You have a party in the house. You got to stay in the house. A lot of drama's going on. It's always the kids.
Hashtag party in the house.
Yeah, that could be a good slug line, I think. Category 4, because you don't want Category 5, because you want the whole thing to be about it was a Category 5, and now it's a Category 4. And it keeps going down, and then it becomes a tropical storm towards the end. But it still floods. You still need the flooding to happen, so you have the assholes that are on canoes and stuff swimming around in sewer water. Are you writing this down? Okay. You're keeping notes. That's good.
I'm making a couple notes over here. I like it. We could do a fundraiser downstairs at the Bricks, and we could raise money for Boards for Bros at the Category 4 production take for the extras for the movie.
I like it. I like where your head's at. Anything to plug? Because look, you were worried about 30 minutes. You were worried about doing this 30 minutes.
I just wanted to plug Boards for Bros, man. I didn't even think about promoting all the important things in life, like giving kids free skateboards. But I love the movie idea. Category 4 is tight because Category 5, you would think it was Category 5.
Yeah.
But no, it's Category 4.
Right.
It's not the bomb. It's like half the bomb.
Yeah, you make it so they're talking about how it could be a Category 5, but it's not. And then it doesn't even hit through.
I just want to be an extra in the movie. I want to be the weatherman on this mic in a headset with the fake rain and the wind and the fan and somebody throwing buckets of water over my head.
We gotta be fair. Let's do your audition now. We might as well get it out of the way. So
I think I'm ready for the part.
We don't have any script. We do it like Curb Your Enthusiasm. So you got to just kind of go with it. So in 3, 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're out here at Panama City. Ybor City. I've already got blown 5 miles south.
Let's not keep this sexual, all right?
Blown 5 miles south.
Jesus Christ, this is for kids.
Quit looking at me so weird. I'm sorry you miss your wife and you're thinking of me.
Anything else to plug? The Bricks, always great in Ybor City if you're in town. We have people that listen to this outside of Florida, so I try to keep it a little, it's about half and half. We only have about 500 to 1,000 listeners. It always kind of varies about that. Go see them at the Pro-Ams. Go see them at the tournaments.
Oh, yeah. Tampa Am, Tampa Pro at the Skate Park of Tampa. And you can also check out tocoworks.com.
Boom.
The finest marketing production company and website design agency for your brand.
No one said it better. That's how we got to close it out. Thanks for doing this. And boardsforbros.com.
Boardsforbros.org. And Spot Tampa. The Bricks of Ybor.com. And coming soon. And anything else? I just can't wait to come back. Thanks for listening to this, and I appreciate you having me, Law.
We'll get weirder next time. I promise.
Should we just start over and do a redo?
No. This is great. This is fun.
You're great. You're fun. Thank you.
You're great. Thanks, man.